Thank you very much for this introduction and the invitation. I'm very happy to be back at the Polish-Japanese Academy of Information Technology with this presentation. I'd like to introduce to you Sonia Górecka. She's actually from Design Academy Eindhoven. We work there together around this topic. And myself is Paweł Pokutycki. I'm based at I'm from Royal Academy of Art, but I also teach at the Design Academy Eindhoven. So we are in the Netherlands for quite a long time by now. And it's a little bit related to what we were talking about, because we are looking, I think Sonia, we're looking back at our Slavic roots somehow. Well, we're both Polish, but we are migrants. And I guess this is also what connected us in this presentation and the workshop that we are doing throughout the week. Between digital West and East, spaces for Slavic identities. Yes. So connecting to the topic of identity crisis, this is too high for me, I'm too tall. Connecting to the topic of identity crisis, we claim, I could say that we are in permanent identity crisis when it comes to digital spaces and digital environments, online realities. Because this reality, digital reality, was never Slavic, for at least how we see it. So we are digital natives as much as Slavic people. And there is an identity problem from the very early days of digital revolution. And the crisis is really there. This is, of course, crisis of overload of information and data, but it's also an identity crisis. I try to defend this statement throughout my part of the presentation. So, back in the days, we had no graphic user interfaces. We were just dealing with command line and code, right, to operate a computer. And then we had this amazing step, of course, for the history of computation, which was coming with this gentleman, Steve Jobs, introducing graphic, on a larger scale, graphic user interfaces. And it was a very important step, obviously, to make computer user-friendly, ergonomic, where design could also play a role in, let's say, organizing the interactions between the human and the computer. There's this wonderful logo that I love so much, where you have the smiling computer and the sliming human being in interaction with each other in a pleasant conversation. And of course, this is the positivity, this is the American positivity. Towards the future of digital revolution. And we all know today that it's not always like that. We also hate our machines. They get, hacked. There are viruses. There are issues with that. So maybe this is not this positive picture is also not really what it is today. And this is a little bit where we are heading to with that. Is this always like that? Maybe not. What strikes me when it comes to the analysis, kind of cultural analysis of that, is that the certain decisions on how the operating system should look like was determined by let's say, principles of efficiency, labor, office work. This was supposed to be a home computer, but in fact, if you look at it, it's actually work computer. It's your office computer. You have your folders, your files, your papers. It's about organization, archiving, efficiency, productivity. This was a design decision, very profound on what we've been doing with the computers since then. So basically, I have quite a lot of stock images. My apologies for that. I know it will hurt your eyes, people sensitive in the arts, but this is done on purpose because stock images are these generic images that illustrate the different activities, human activities. So this is, for me, a parallel, right? We have a mapping of this analog physical situation onto the digital design. Okay. So think different. Really? Same goes to Microsoft. I'm talking about this again, these early days. The prominent or the major tools that we got was Microsoft Office. Again, it was about replacing the typewriter or the spreadsheet, and then having a little cute paper clip popping up from time to time, advising you how you can do these, how you can use these new tools. right? So it's all staying within the working. Huh? This is 1984. When it comes to Mac OS, yeah, by the way, that year, this is when the first Mac OS was introduced with Mac Classic. About Microsoft a bit later. Yeah, so by the way, I also want to make a reference how maybe these things also affect our condition and of course, identity, which we will speak about in a moment. But what about, if it's a home computer, what about this? You know, we cook, we eat together, we have like leisure time, we have times with our family. Where is that represented in the design of the computer? Until this day. Okay, we order food sometimes. There are some apps for that. That's about it. You see what I mean? We were growing up as digital natives or digital immigrants in a space that was supposed to relate to different activities of our life, but in design, in aesthetics, and in functionality, certain things were forgotten. This was forgotten. This was forgotten too, and that was forgotten too. Again, I'm using stock images because these are general things people do, let's say, around the world. Gardening, nature was mentioned in the previous lecture. So important today. Climate change, our relationship to the natural environment. Where is that represented in our interfaces? Okay, there is a weather app. Okay, that's about it. The rest is a shopping mall. This is a shopping mall. It's about consumer culture. You go to different spaces of corporate branded environments, and we lack certain other type of activities. Of course, it's slowly changing. Also, AI and other things bring in new perspectives to this. I myself recently use these apps for flowers, plants, because AI can recognize the plant and then you can know how to deal with your plants. It's kind of interesting new turn how technology actually gets us back to the nature, but for so many decades by now, this wasn't a thing. These types of activities obviously too. So I would, of course, to be honest, the things like that, of course, migrated to online spaces, to digital spaces, playing games. Also you see, of course, new types of interactions that occur. Yeah, so there's a kind of step there. One cannot say that this didn't happen. Social networking, yeah, of all of these things. Dating, why not? Okay. So we've been mapping all these human activities onto the digital spaces more and more, including creative work, Photoshop even specifically. It's always interesting how Photoshop is actually replicating, the brush, the eraser, the pencil, the paint bucket, the magnifying glass, how it's also copying sort of the analog practices towards now things like this, where we know it's a different type of creativity than the conventional one. So we have a certain, evolution, and certain activities, human activities, were mapped onto digital environments and certain not, and also in very different ways. We are now with this digital West, and between the digital West and East, we are searching for things like this. Okay, so what about this? What about dance? What about folklore? What about cultural reference? What about cultural heritage? Is that present in digital spaces? And we claim it is not. We struggle mention if there's anything Slavic in design, in the aesthetics and functionality as well of digital environments. If you have an idea, maybe you know something, let us know. We don't see that, and this is a big loss. We lost history. We lost identity. Our digital existence is disrupted, right? Our history is disrupted by digital revolution in that sense. And we need to do something about it. We are quite We are talking about it in terms of speculative design. Obviously, it's very difficult to change the industry, to change the world, to introduce certain form of, referencing to history and cultural heritage. But at least within the field of art, speculative design, we do see a space where this can be introduced. And we are, of course, reflecting on what makes us Slavic. Slavic is a very difficult concept as well. It's quite a large region. Sonia will speak about it in a moment. So it's also searching, how do we do this? How do we talk about it? Of course, also in the context of current conflicts, in tensions within and current and previous tensions within the Slavic, let's say, part of the world. For instance, another remark, I'm myself born atheist, but I was always told, or it's always something people know or say, that the Slavic people are religious and there's a certain degree of spirituality in Slavic nations. So also, where is that represented digitally? How do we see this somehow, activities around religious or spiritual practice? Is that represented? I say it is not. And the question is why? We were never, as Slavs, involved in the digital revolution. It came to us, in a way, we got colonized by the digital that came mostly from the West, Western values, Western ideas, and that is expressed in both aesthetics, but also in the functionality. The things we do on our devices are certain things that maybe, we can relate to, but they don't address certain other practices, ideas, mentality that we have, or that we think we have. It's just not represented digitally. So, we are doing a workshop this week called Slavic Glitch, and we intend to glitch the status quo, glitch the existing online digital spaces in two ways. One is disruptive. Let's hack the system, break the system, introduce some form of give it a Slavic flavor in both aesthetics and functionality. So you think of what you can do if you are. How do you think? How do you interact as a Slav, Polish, Belarusian, Ukrainian, and so forth? But then also there's another approach, more constructive. So can we build an alternative? So not interrupt with what it is, but create another safe space for explorations for the Slavic digital design or Slavic digital online realities. And I think you're all familiar with the term glitch, right? Is this, when you have some line of code or numbers that interferes with the sort of existing image or existing reality. So we are very much exploring this concept, and Sonia right now will also show you some of her own work that we've been discussing in the last year together with each other, or years actually. So I'm giving the microphone over to her.
Hi everyone. So I would like to talk a bit from my own perspective and comment of what Paweł said. As a person who entered the design academy with a promise that I will never do a project about Poland, and I end up doing a project about what is Slavic at the end, and trying to understand what is Slavic as I migrate and felt a bit different than when I was in Poland on my origin place. So basically, what is Slavic? I have no answer for this question, especially in the moment of contemporary. So what is Slavic nowadays, when there is exactly a lot of migration, there is destabilization of geopolitical situation of different lands, Slavic lands, and also when we also live more in urban spaces, not having constant or direct connection to village or tradition and folklore itself. So how to connect to it in some modern way, how to understand it. I also can tell you that I see through my research different movements of art as well and design also on our territories, also during Warsaw Gallery Weekend lately as well. Also that there is a lot of emerging ideas of reviving the Slavic also in arts and design, mostly probably also started by young people making another like a singing course or braiding, trying to bake bread and all this stuff coming now, I guess also more because of the loyalty or trying to understand what are our relations between countries. And Slavs are a huge territory. We are mostly connected through language, that is Slavic. However, we have a lot of differences and yet a lot of similarities, which is very interesting to see when you're abroad and then you actually realize how a lot of things you have in common. So yeah, this is an open question. This is an open topic. However, for me personally, I wanted to also research it in a sense of digital, as we talked and Paweł just explained. And my visual research started of identity and aesthetics through looking through different books with folklore painting, rugs, textile, ceramics from different countries and trying to get it together, making some kind of library of shapes, motifs, patterns that I try to, because as I work from analog to digital, from digital to analog, and trying to make translation through these two mediums, that I started from 2D and trying to make also different variations of my own library in the 3D world. Mostly using drawings in VR, but also different modeling softwares. Here I also wanted to show you how different we can think about folklore itself in general and what it is, how we can approach it. Is it like fake lore? We're trying to appropriate something in a wrong way and misleading, and it will be a big misinformation? Or is it like a reinvention of traditions? So we're trying to dig and but also bring some creative process to what we want to show, right? So that's also my case. What I'm trying to do is to reinterpret, translate, and re-envision it into digital spaces. Or folklorism, which is like trying to once again show the folklore that it's authentic and real, original in a good way as education purposes. And here I would like to a bit drive apart from what I just said, but also tell you some evolution of my projects regarding to what Paweł was showing, because I started with experimenting around also interfaces and idea of the desktop as well, and offices in general. Then I will come back to my last project that connects to Slavic. So this is a project I made. It's an experimental video installation called OS Operative Speculation, where I explode and suspend the shiny layer of the desktop of MacBook. So basically, how it works, it was the installation where we 3D model all the elements of the desktop and try to show the different life behind the desktop. So when someone, I will show the video in a second, when someone was doing something on the computer, then you have a projector in the background which is showing the different kind of life of different icons, what could happen behind what we don't see. It's very abstract and experimental video speculation, let's say, but maybe I will show the first link. Mm-hmm. So yeah, this was a kind of tryout or trying to explore what could happen if we explode this interface, this shiny layer that we have to deal with everyday life. Because maybe we don't want this desktop anymore. Maybe we want something else and we have to change it. So that was the one. The other one, no, wait. Oh. So yeah, that was the other one project that is related to the first one, but in a very different way. It's talking about working culture, but also offices as a physical this time, not as a desktop. And what would happen if we don't have offices anymore and everything gonna transport into the reality, like VR, virtual reality. So that was also a question, what would happen? Because the offices are not changing so much. We have the same object, the same things. What would happen, how it would merge into the virtual reality, how it would happen in reverse, let's say. And that was also quite, experimental video where we actually 3D scan and photogrammetry different offices, spaces from different countries, and try to place them in virtual reality and check how they can mutate, if they, and what would happen if they will not have a function as they have normally. So yeah, that's what I can say, but just a bit because it's long. No, not this one. It also came out a bit as a music video at the end. But yes, it was also trying to catch some aesthetics between offices that are real and digital. This what you see are 3D scans of different offices in Romania, France, and Poland. It was a bit of speculation how useless it can be and what could happen. I will show you just a bit because it's quite long and it's just the idea that the offices also can be in some abstract space, maybe lifetime, maybe we don't know exactly. So that was also an installation that was not only a video, but also part of it, it was relics of offices. So let's say it was a ruins, a funeral and ruins of offices. As an idea.
Like the desktop.
Yeah,
No,
I mean something is wrong.
Sorry for the people in office and enjoying their office.
Try to.
We don't take it personal.
Yes. So that was these two kind of reversely projects that are kind of connected in a way. But then coming back to my last project that was regarding this, but as well. Slavic identity, as we talked at the beginning. So basically, I made a 3D interactive digital landscape lately that shows my own personal interpretation of what can be post-Slavic, can be a space where we can meet and play around. It's a playable interactive space where you can play with an Xbox controller. Basically, I cannot show you fully the game, but I will show you a trailer of it. However, the idea of the project is to wander around a digital space that has some characteristic of Slavic, However, you lost there, you wander without sense, and you cannot find yourself, let's say. As we don't know what is Slavic and how to get, and that it's completely defragmented, and we wandering around forest anyways, most of the cases, so we know how it works. But also, what I wanted to emphasize here is that there are some sentences of a poem that AI wrote that you can go around and hear in different spaces. It's a completely banal poem that I will show you later and doesn't talk much about what is Slavic either.
But the prompt was that this is a Slavic poem, right?
Yes, about Slavic. So we wanted to see what AI knows and thinks about Slavic. And on top of that, in the space, you can also hear the music that you also hear during the trailer, which is actually a modern Slavic core. It's people of my age trying to revive all the tradition. They sing in old Ukrainian and old Polish. The topic of the songs are leaving the mother. So in that sense, leaving the origins in a sense of my interactive space. And yes, and the cores are also remade by a producer from Amsterdam, so they are also a kind of new version of the sound. So yeah, so this you can see how there is a pillow. I don't have it with me, but it's also for a Xbox, and you can walk around. And yeah. Dlaczego to jest tak rozpisane? Okay, no. So that's the trailer of different scenes from the game, let's say. Okay, that's
the poem.
Hmm?
The poem.
And the poem we can also. That's the poem. I don't think I feel like reading it out loud too much, but
It's not that bad, no?
Not that bad, but very typical for sure. Well, that's it. Thank you so much.